am introducing Kiara Windrider, who is a therapist, healer, and evolutionary catalyst. He is the author of Illahinoor, Gaia Luminous, and Homo Luminous, and participates in retreats and seminars worldwide.
Thank you, Barbie. And thanks everyone for being here. Yeah, it's beautiful to step into this soft, soothing, powerful space, which is exactly what the Lion's Gate is really about. You know, it's the lion, the spontaneity, the power, the focus of Leo, but a higher octave. So, you know, I know there's a lot of information going out about what this Lion's Gate means. And essentially for me, you know, without going into a whole lot of thinking about this, Leo represents the lion. It also has to do with Sirius, because Sirius is on the eastern horizon today. And so it's rising, and anytime there's a planet that's rising or a star that's rising, it represents a new cycle beginning. It also happens that Orion is directly overhead, and the three stars of the belt of Orion, as you know, represent the three pyramids in Giza. It's like exactly that particular angle corresponding on the Giza plateau. So for the Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians, Ceres, Orion, and the Earth were aligned in such a way that it was a doorway for stellar initiation, for anchoring this very powerful galactic energy. And this always represents the beginning of a cycle or the ending of an whole cycle. And in many ways, we are at that point right now, not just an annual cycle like we have today, but it's a cycle of an age. You know, people talk about the Piscean age ending, the Aquarian age beginning. Many ancient prophecies, speak about the a 12,000-year cycle, or some say 13,000-year cycle, which is ending and a new cycle beginning. The Incas talked about Homo luminous, Gaia luminous, new planetary evolutionary cycle beginning. So I want to start with just a little bit about Sirius, because it ties into all this, and Sirius is significant today, and I want to honor what the stellar energy is about. It's the higher octave of Venus. It also happens to be our twin star, hypothetically. So according to Walter Cruttenden of the Binary Research Institute, our sun does have a twin star, which is Sirius. There's Sirius B and Sirius C. Sirius B, according to ancient traditions, is the home of the cetaceans. That's where they came from to Earth. It's also the home of the star lions. And so I want to speak a little bit about the star lions. In astrology, ancient astronomy, they speak about Regulus, the star, being the heart of the star lion, and Sirius being the eye of the star lion. In the Bushman language, they use the word Sau for the central star of the Orion belt. And this is it signifies the lion, the star lion. And they say that the white lion in particular is the soul of Africa. Just yesterday, I happened to watch this movie, Mia and the White Lion. It's a beautiful movie. If you haven't seen it, look for it on Netflix or Amazon Prime or wherever you can find it. It's about the protection of the white lion. And many years ago, maybe back in 2010, I'd spent some time in Africa, in South Africa in particular. And part of that was at a sanctuary for white lions at a place called Timbawati, which was founded by my friend Linda Tucker, who's written a book, Children of the, I don't know if it's called Children of the White Lion or Children of the Stars or something. But there's a correspondence. Before I went to Timbawati, I'd spent some time with an African Sangoma medicine man and historian, Credo Mutwa. And he has been researching ancient African cultures and traditions and spiritual stories going way, way back. And he speaks about the first encounter of the Dogon tribe with their star ancestors. And there were many of them that came in. It included, at a certain point, the dolphins and the whales, who then went to the sea, took on, created flippers so they could actually swim in the ocean, where they could actually gather their ancestral memories of the entire galaxy, the entire universe, in a way that they could then hold that for Mother Earth in terms of seeding this planet. But the lions, the white lions, also came from Sirius B. So according to the Dogon tribe in Africa, they were the soul of Africa, the white lions. And there was a time they were almost extinguished, went extinct. And part of what Linda's mission was to find them in zoos across the world, bring them back to Africa and create a sanctuary for the renewal of the soul of Africa. So, that to me is what the Lion's Gate represents. It's the entry through the doorway of the soul of, whether it's Africa, whether it's the soul of the earth, but it's connecting to the soul of the universe. It's a doorway through which we can step. It's a doorway through which universal energies are being poured in every single day and amplified during a time such as this. So amplified with the intention, the shared intention that we carry, to create the new earth. I'll say a little bit more about the cycle that's beginning now. I mentioned that Ceres is very possibly this twin star of our sun. I'm sure all of you have heard the theory of the yugas. So these are the classical ages in the Hindu calendar system. Some refer to these ages as millions of years long. Sri Yukteswar, who was the teacher of Yogananda Paramahamsa and disciple of the great Babaji Mahavatar, he said that these cycles are actually 24,000 years. So the four ages, or the four stages, Satyuga, the age of light, and then the Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, which is an age of darkness, stepping down and then stepping back up, is a continual cycle. Now, what creates this cycle? What creates this rhythm of dark and light, of galactic dark and light? So according to Walter Crittenden, and he's been doing a lot of research into how these cycles work, he says that our sun and Ceres are moving around each other in their journey, in their common journey around the center of the galaxy. So at any given point, one of these stars is going to be closer to the center of the galaxy than the other. When our sun is closer to the galactic center, that is the age of light, Satyuga. When our sun is further away from the center of the galaxy, that's an age of darkness, Kali Yuga. And this journey of moving out from Kali Yuga, Satyuga, back to Kali Yuga is simply our movement around the galaxy along with Sirius, where we are more receptive to galactic frequencies of light, and when we are further away from that frequency. Right now, we happen to be moving away from the Kali Yuga. We've actually stepped into what's called the Dwapara Yuga, the next age. So we're getting closer. We're closing in on the galactic center for this particular cycle, which means that more information is available to us. It's a certain kind of information. We could call it spiritual information. Sri Aurobindo refers to this as supramental light. This frequency is something that as it descends into global life, activity, form, it starts to awaken something. It awakens new possibilities within our own DNA, within the planetary DNA, within the mind and the heart, the soul of this beautiful living conscious entity that we call Mother Earth or Gaia. So she has her own evolutionary plan. And as she creates a conjunction through our sun, through Sirius, through the galactic center, it then opens up new possibilities, new gateways. So the Lion's Gate symbolizes that galactic gateway, the galactic portal through which new information is now coming in to be used. Now, how that's used is up to us. We happen to be the nervous system of Gaia. So, she has brought us into being. She's given us life and form. She's given us a purpose. Our collective purpose is to be an antenna between earth and sky, a connecting link, a portal. We ourselves are the portals. We don't have to look for portals elsewhere out on the earth. People talk about sacred sites and places and portals and so on. We are the portal. We are the acupuncture needles through which these galactic energies can be anchored into the body, into the heart, into the soul of the earth, because we're not separate from that. We are that. So this is a holographic relationship. Just like we have so many different systems operating through our physical bodies, so does Gaia, and we are part of her physical body as the nervous system, perhaps the left brain of Gaia. I consider the cetaceans being the right brain of Gaia, and so we have a symbiotic relationship with each other. The lion represents the heart. The lion represents the courage. It's the impulse. It's that ability, that spontaneous fire that awakens something deep inside. And some people talk about the dragons, the ancient dragons awakening from deep within the earth and supporting her in this evolutionary impulse. So that is represented through the heart, the space that is held by these star lions. So it's a very symbolic, but actually also very accurate representation of our role in all of this. We are the bridge between all these different dimensions, between the earth and the sky, between the evolutionary journey of Gaia and new information coming in from the galactic center. this new information is what Sri Aurobindo and the mother referred to as the supramental descent. And this is something unique to our particular time. It hasn't happened to this extent before, and certainly not on a collective level. So this is something that excites me. It's something that motivates me. It's something that I can hold on to when it appears that we're going through difficult times of transition, when we hear of and see all the wars and horrors around us, the political, economic, social chaos, the downfall of our planetary ecosystems. So in the midst of all of this, if you can see this in a way, a reflection of something descending deep into the soul of the earth, bringing to the surface everything that needs to be released and healed and transformed, so it can be seen and then let go. This is what that supramental force is about. It presses in deep into the unconscious layers of what Sri Aurobindo refers to as the inconscient world, the underworld, that space where light has not fully manifested yet. That's our role, to be a bridge so this light can enter through our own bodies, through our own psyches, through our own distortions, through our own darkness, into the collective consciousness of Gaia. And as we transform, so does Gaia. As we begin to unify dark and light, step out of the duality that creates the separation, that provides the impetus for Mother Earth to move into a whole new vibrational frequency, into a new evolutionary plan. So these are exciting times. The Incas, the Maya, the Hopi, they all speak about this. The Egyptians, the ancient Hindus, the Tibetans, they're all very clear that this was a time of revolution, of turning upside down the Pachacuti, or that's the term that the Incas use. The term that the ancient Hindus used was similar. What was it? This disappeared. Some of you might know what that is. If so, just put it out on the chat. Or the term in the Christian book of Revelation is apocalypse. Same meaning, things being turned upside down, or literally being turned right side up, because things are already upside down in a sense. So here we are. Our task, our role is to support Mother Earth in this evolutionary task. And as we step into this portal, as we become this portal, the Lion's Gate, we then become a doorway through which Gaia can then move forward. So I just want to first share that perspective, because it's very easy to go into despair and hopelessness when you see the world around us seemingly dissolve in war, in economic collapse, in environmental catastrophe, whatever it may be. I mean, we are going through massive environmental changes as well. And this is all part of the journey. As we look at the nature of cycles, everything comes together. And cycles are always being repeated. Something from the past is coming forward. And then it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to play out exactly the way it has before, but there are similarities. So 12,000 years ago, what happened? Anyone remember? This was the time that Atlantis, the whole civilization, it's a whole continental and actually a planetary civilization went under the waves as a consequence of solar catastrophes which impacted upon the Earth. Now, whether it was a comet, whether it had to do with solar micronova, whether it had to do with a galactic superwave moving through our solar system, or a coordination of all of these things. The same thing is going on right now as we move from this current Satyuga into Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga into Dwapara Yuga, on the way to Satyuga. 12,000 years later, we're going through exactly the same journey. So, we're going through massive bombardments of solar energies, cosmic ray energies, which are shaping our consciousness, which are shaping the consciousness of all species on this earth. It's creating stresses within the tectonic plates, the earthquake zones of the earth, and also encouraging the growth of volcanic activity. A lot of things are interconnected, things that we might not even imagine. So we are seeing a culmination of all of this coming together. So not only are we going through political crisis, food shortages, gas problems, we're also going through climate changes in a big way. We are preparing for a possible cooling cycle, which could be very intense as we move into the next sunspot cycle. So all of these things are coming together. And if we just remember that this has to do with the supramental force, the unified light pressing in to this world today to bring up and release old patterns of fear and greed and separation and duality, that witnessing, that ability to stay neutral in the midst of all this and just support what needs to happen without being overly affected by what's going on around us, because we are literally a fractal, a holographic image of Gaia, of Mother Earth. And if we can hold that unified space within our own being, that ripples out across the earth, across all species, into the body, the heart, the soul of the earth. That's our job. So the Lion's Gate is an incredible doorway through which we can hold this unified light. All right, so now, having laid that foundation, I want to speak a little bit about Illahinoor and maybe do a little practice so we can actually tune into that frequency and become a vehicle for this unified light. So Illahinoor, it's a process, it's a inner technology for healing, for unifying, and for activating new possibilities on the earth. So I first encountered this when I was with the whales in Hawaii. Something happened while I was swimming with the mother and baby that opened up certain portals towards the back of my head. And then as I began to research this and experiment with this, spent time in Egypt and Turkey, learning about some of the ancient traditions from that landmass, slowly what started to come together is a way of actually tapping into that particular space I call it space, but it's not a physical time-space coordinate. It's a gateway. It's a portal within our own bodies, which links us up to universal galactic source. So this Illahinoor work was about opening to this source energy, what Sri Aurobindo calls the supramental light. The supramental is well, as the name itself implies, it's beyond the mental. But even beyond the mental, there's many different stages of mind. So he refers to the higher mind, the illumined mind, the intuitive mind, the overmind, and then finally the supermind. And this realm of mind is far, far, far beyond what we normally, as humans, have learned to use. So it takes some training, it takes some awareness to be able to access that level of the mind. But once we do, once we open to that, it's a universal force that begins to flow in. It moves in through our psyche, it moves in through our vital forces, it moves in through our physical bodies, it moves in through our subconscious mind, it moves into the mind of Gaia, it moves into the intelligence that we carry within each of ourselves, and then starts to awaken. And then we start to awaken. We start to open to new evolutionary possibilities. So what I'm going to do, we have about 30 minutes left, is do a little exercise to access this supramental force, this Illahinoor energy. Illahinoor literally means divine light in Turkish. Ilahi is divine, Nur is light. And light in the sense that it's not the opposite of dark. It's simply that unified light that exists even beyond time and space, beyond any kind of duality. So it's that kind of divine force that once it enters into our human world, into Gaia's awareness, we are the ones who are the links. We are the nervous system of Gaia. We are the ones who are responsible to open and become this portal to anchor the supramental force. So this is the Illahinoor work. So there's the space I mentioned behind the back of the head. So there's an access point just above the occipital ridge. So if you notice where the neck meets the base of the skull, that's the occipital ridge. And on both sides of the center line, if you go up from the occipital ridge slightly, you'll find these indentations. Those are the access points. Through that, as you hold that, you can begin to access an emerging chakra in the back of the head, actually behind the back of the head, so say about 4 to 6 feet behind the back of the head. So just like there's a portal, a window 4 to 6 feet above the top of the head that opens up your access to galactic universal sources. Behind the back of the head, there's another portal that opens up an access to this spheric, what I call spherical consciousness. That's what I experienced when I was with the whales. So it's spherical in the sense that you experience yourself as a hologram. You experience yourself like, those Chinese dolls, one over the other, inside the other. So we are here experiencing ourselves as a human self. And then as we open to the next level out, we experience ourselves as a planetary self, as Gaia herself. We continue going out, we experience ourselves as a solar self, a galactic self, a universal self, the I Am. And so all of these are linked together through this region the space behind the back of the head. It's like this is where the hologram begins to unfold. As you know from the alchemical teachings, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's the nature of alchemy. So this particular chakra is our doorway into that alchemical realization. I'm remembering this beautiful book. Some of you may know this, by Paulo Coelho, The Alchemist. This boy who goes on a pilgrimage out to the pyramids and then back to Spain, to Andalusia. And along the way, he discovers that it's possible for him to become the wind. And he becomes the wind, he becomes the sun, he becomes the earth, he becomes the universe. All of those forces start moving through him. And he went on this journey looking for gold. Instead, he found this great treasure inside him. This was the alchemical gold, the ability to understand who he was in its multidimensional magnificence. So as we connect with this magnificence, we recognize that we are much more powerful than we ever imagined, much more brilliant than we thought, much more capable of love and compassion than we ever dreamed, wiser than we ever imagined. We have access to everything that we ever desire in the entire universe, if we know how to harness this, if we know how to anchor this, how to merge it through different aspects of our being, our multidimensional self. So what I'm going to do now is each of us, so connect with this point in the back of the head. So remember, going up from the occipital ridge, you find those two indentations. They're a little bit sensitive. So if you press, you might feel that it's like a mild pain. So you hold those 2 points like that with one hand. So you can use your middle finger and thumb, like so. Bring the other hand so that the palm is on the third eye and the fingers fold in over the crown. So you're connecting the third eye and the crown. The other hand connects those 2 places in the occipital region. So instead of, if you don't want to twist your wrist like this, you can just rest your middle finger on one side and this area, the palm, the bottom of the palm on the other side. So just holding it so. And what you'll experience while you do so, you're invoking that supramental force. And we'll do a little process so we can go deeper into that field. You're invoking that supramental force, that Illahinoor field. You're bringing it through. And then as you hold that point of contact, you're going to feel something going on within your brain. It's like, the neocortex here is connected with the superconscious aspects of the brain. The limbic system is connected to the subconscious aspects of the brain. The shamans often talk about the upper world and the lower world and the middle world and unifying them in your journeys. So this is what's happening here. These 3 worlds, so the subconscious and the superconscious, are coming together with the conscious mind so that we're not so split, so that our intention, our conscious intention, can then be the gateway through which cosmic energies can flow and move all the way into the realms of nature, the underworld, the what shamans call the lower world. So what I want to do before we do this is just invoke the supramental force, the Illahinoor field. So before we started, Barbie was already setting the field with this beautiful meditation and stillness. And we use this focus now to invoke the supramental field and all the star beings that are associated with these portals. So we call them the dragons, we call them the white lions, we call them our galactic friends and families. We call on the forces of nature, the elemental beings, the tree spirits, the animal spirits, the plant spirits, the elementals of fire and wind, earth and flame. We call on the great spirit that moves through all things. We call on the gods and goddesses in every tradition that are here for the support and evolution of this earth. Our own ancestors and ourselves in other lifetimes that have moved through so many initiations of power to arrive at this particular time, this junction in our planetary history. We invoke those aspects of our own being, the superconscious and the subconscious. That which has been hidden from us, which is our flight, and that which is hidden from us that has been dark. So all of this can be held together as this primordial light pours in. So imagine this beautiful open window over the top of your head, and this incredible force of light pouring in, moving through all your bodies, physical, etheric, mental, emotional, and causal, all the way through every single cell down into the earth. And as this light pours in, now bring your hands into position. So you're creating that Illahinoor bridge. Linking up the superconscious and the subconscious. Linking up the neocortex with the two hemispheres of the brain and the limbic system. As you do so, feel your connectedness with the Great Mother, whether it's Mother Earth or the Great Mother Shakti, the creative force of life that moves through all things, all dimensions, all universes. And as we invoke that, we become that. Once you've created that bridge, you can simply let go, let the work happen. You can continue holding that if you wish, or just let go and allow yourself to dissolve. So what's happening is that the personal self is now dissolving. Just like a little drop of water dissolves into the great ocean. And you find yourself expanding further and further out to become the earth, to become the cosmos, to become the entire universe, the one spirit moving through all things. That I am. You recognize your identity with all there is. And as you become that, you allow that primordial light, that supramental force, to move in through your surrendered spirit, through your heart and mind, through the cells of your physical body, into all the systems of the earth, deep inside the earth, over the earth, around the earth, through her physical body, through her etheric body, through her mental, emotional, and causal bodies. Feeling this Illahinoor force, this supramental light, permeating this entire field. Activating the next level of her own evolutionary impulse. As today, join with so many others around the earth who are holding their focus on this particular day, the Lion's Gate. Once this bridge is made, there's nothing to do. Simply invoke that force and let go. Surrender. Feel the power of the white lions. Moving through this heart portal. In the Great Pyramid, there are 4 shafts, 2 in the King's Chamber, 2 in the Queen's Chamber, that connect to different star systems, which are all linked with human evolution going back into our galactic past. So it includes Sirius, includes Orion, includes Draco, and I think the 4th one is Regulus. So again, it's all connected to the star lion, the heart, the eye, the belly, and the tail. I remember when I was in Timbavati 10, 12 years ago and had an encounter with these twin cubs, white lion male cubs. And it was such an incredible experience. We were very close to each other. I didn't feel any kind of threat from them. We simply had this moment of connection, even eye contact, which just forever remained with me. Feel the power of those white lions now entering through this portal. What a magnificent species. Authentic fire. Divine power. And this is what we're embodying now as we become a vehicle in open surrender to these galactic and universal forces seeking to anchor upon the earth. Activating Gaia's own evolutionary purpose. We're not finished as a species. We're not completed yet. There's so much more to go. And she knows. And we now co-create with her. We don't have to wait millions of years. Evolution can be intentional and co-creative now. And that's our role. That's our task at this time. So a couple more minutes just in this stillness, in this multidimensional expanded space. There's no more sense of personal identity separate from your planetary identity, separate from your cosmic identity. This light has its own intelligence. There's nothing we need to do as a personal self to direct it or to move it around. And simply let that personal self dissolve. Allow this greater force, this greater intelligence to do whatever is needed at this time. With all our gratitude to Mother Earth for inviting us here, welcoming us here on this planet. Our gratitude to the supramental force that we can be a part of this great evolutionary focus. We can be warriors of light. We can be the star lions. We can keep that gate open on behalf of all life on this earth, across the universe. So we have a few minutes left. If people would like to share your experience, either in the chat or in person.
Kiara, can I share something which
Please.
it's just amazing to me? Just look. Ever since I was a child, we've had this book.
Oh.
And somehow, even when I want to give some books away to other children, I never want to give this one away. And it is so easy for me to find it. I just had to get up, went to my bookshelf, and I just had to put my hand in, and there it was. The white lines you were talking about.
Yeah. I remember the name of the book from Linda Tucker. It's called Children of the Sun.
Yeah, so this one was another one. It's by Chris McBride, but it's the same family. And
I'll have to look for this.
Yeah, and this is the intentions that we had placed a few weeks ago. You know, why I'm sharing this is because I'm just seeing that these are the interconnections that take place. They're just amazing, the different kinds of synchronicities coming up. And I know I would like people to share, but I also would request you that remember once when you did Illahinoor with us, all of us were on video, and then you had us do some healing, send it out. We had all sent it out. So can we do that? Can everyone come?
It's happening. I mean, it's happening. I mean, once you make that holographic connection, there's no in and there's no out. You just become the soul of the earth. You become the whole universe. So it's happening. I can feel the ripples moving out.
Okay. Yeah, please everyone share what they want to share.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's also interesting, you know, the background that we have. What's it called? The screensaver, the screenshot. So it's got those two lions, the white lions back there. Yeah, anything else people want to share before we move to Marjorie? Yeah, white feather.
I did this with you, I don't know how long ago it was, but this time I could really feel it leaving the back and almost like waves of light and energy flowing. I definitely felt the difference. So I'm so grateful that you provided that again for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just want to say, Kiara, it was just very special to me. Sometimes I have a hard time just listening for like half an hour, someone talking, or, you know, but it's like, it was like, I was just feeling your words, you know, even if my brain was not really sometimes focusing, but it felt very, very special to me. I want to thank you so much for that. Yeah, the whole hour felt like the time stopped. It was very strange. So, and since I'm right after you, it feels like, you know, I'm in another place right now. So thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Asha has raised her hand.
Asha?
Can you hear me? What's the name of that Netflix movie about lions that, if you can put in the chat?
Yeah, I'll put that
What was the name? Can you say it too in case?
Yeah, Mia and the White Lion.
MIA?
Yes.
Okay.
Oops, I put that in a private message. Okay, here's for everyone. Mia and the White Lion. And the name of the book is Children of the Sun. Oops. Sorry. And this one that Meenakshi mentioned, what's the name again, Meenakshi?
I've written that in the chat. The White Lions of Timbawati,
Okay,
A Christmas
great.
Bride. Also, Kiara, can you tell the name of your book and how we can get it?
Oh, sure. So if you go to my website, kiarawindrider.net, all of them are listed in the books section. So there's a book on Illahinoor that goes into much more detail. There's a book called Homo Luminous, which is our evolutionary future as humans. And there's another book, Gaia Luminous, our evolutionary future as a planetary consciousness. And there's others also. And check out my YouTube channel. It's Kiara Windrider without a space. So I've got lots of this information and meditations there as well, if people want to check that out. There's many articles on my website, which I don't know where they are anymore. They're all kind of scattered here and there.